Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to POWERGRID Infrastructure Investment Trust Q4 and FY2024 earnings conference call hosted by ICICI Securities. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. And I've handed the conference over to Mr. Mohit Kumar from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Neha. Good afternoon. On behalf of ICICI Securities, we welcome you all to Q4 FY24 earnings call of PG InvIT. We are privileged to join today with the management team, Shri Abhay Chaudhary, Chairman, Shri Purushottam Agarwal, Director, Mr. A.S.N. Sharma, Chief Executive Officer, Shri Amit Garg, Chief Financial Officer, and Anjana Luthra, Ma'am, Company Secretary and Compliance Officer. We'll start with brief opening remarks followed by Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of POWERGRID Uchaha Transmission Limited, the investment manager to PG InvIT, I welcome all participants joining this call amidst the busy result season. I have with me Mr. Purushottam Agarwal, Director PUTL, Mr. Arindam Sharma, CEO PUTL, Mr. Amit Garg, CFO PUTL, and other senior officials. Today, PG InvIT announced its financial results for the quarter and year ended March 31, 2024, and distribution for the quarter ended March 31, 2024, which have been disclosed on the NSE. A presentation on Q4 and FY2024 results of PG InvIT has been uploaded on the website of PG InvIT. In the interest of time, I will be providing a summary of the results instead of going through the presentation. PG InvIT currently owns 5 SPVs with 100% equity shareholding in one SPV, that is VTL, and 74% in each of the other 4 SPVs, namely PKATL, PWTL, PPTL, and PJTL. The SPVs are operational projects comprising 11 transmission lines with a network of approximately 3,699 circuit kilometers and 3 substations with 6,630 MVA transformation capacity. The average remaining life of the transmission service agreements of SPVs is more than 28 years. PG InvIT, with a value proposition of AAA, that is Assets, Assurance and Advantage, aims to provide consistent, stable and visible returns to its unit holders. Now coming to the distribution part, I would like to start from the distribution for the quarter ended March 31, 2024. We have announced a distribution of rupees 3 per unit, which would be paid to the unit holders on or before 6th June 2024. With this, we have met the distribution guidance of rupees 12 per unit for FY24, which was announced at the beginning of the year. This is the 4th distribution by the Trust for fiscal 24 and the 11th consecutive distribution since our listing in May 21. Including the recently announced distribution, the aggregate distribution of PG InvIT since its listing is more than rupees 31.39 billion. For fiscal 2022, an aggregate distribution of rupees 10.5 per unit was made to the unit holders for the working period of the Trust, that is May 13, 2021 to March 31, 2022. This was followed by an aggregate distribution of rupees 12 per unit for financial year 23, which was made to the unit holders. For fiscal 2024, an aggregate distribution of rupees 12 per unit has been declared, taking a total distribution since IPO to rupees 34.50 per unit for an IPO unit price of rupees 100. Our distributions, including the latest rupees 3 per unit, are in line with our distribution policy and SEBI regulations which stipulates not less than 90% of NDCF to be distributed to unit holders. I would like to reiterate that as per our distribution policy, the distribution shall be declared and made not less than once every quarter. Now coming into the highlights for the quarter and year ended March 31, 2024. On the operations part, our project manager ensured that the operation and maintenance of the assets were carried out efficiently, and the monthly availability of each of the SPV during the period from April 23 to March 24 was in excess of the target availability. For financial year 24, the average availability across SPVs has consistently exceeded 99.75%. However, the data for quarter 4 FY2024 is currently provisional because we are awaiting the monthly availability certificates from the respective regional power committees for most of the SPVs for the period January 24 to March 24. In line with our commitment to sustainable operations, we organize various activities such as regular safety pep talks and training programs for our teams. Our consistent and prioritized approach to safe operations has been marked by a quarter of zero accidents. I will now provide an update on the implementation of bus reactor at Kalam substation by PKATL under regulated tariff mechanism. The project has been commissioned on 5th of February 2024. Being an RTM project, its tariff will be decided by the regulator, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, in accordance with the applicable tariff regulations. I would like to bring to your knowledge that one of the SPVs, PTPL, has been allotted a project implementation of one number of 400 kV line bay at Padli under regulated tariff mechanism. Works are currently under progress, and we are committed to commission the same within the specified timeline, that is by December 31, 2025. Upon commissioning, this project would be entitled for tariffs as decided by the regulator CERC in accordance with applicable tariff regulations. Now coming to financial highlights. During the current financial year, the total income on a consolidated basis for the year ended March 31, 2024 was about rupees 13,027.22 million, which included rupees 12,653.38 million of revenue from operations and rupees 373.84 million of other income. The other income is mainly on account of interest earned on the deposits and surcharge income. Total expenses, excluding the reversal of impairment losses for the year at the consolidated level stood at about rupees 4,616.07 million. The total income and expenses, excluding the reversal of impairment losses for the quarter ended March 31, 2024, stood at rupees 3,266.81 million and rupees 1,203.9 million respectively. The NDCFs calculated at SPV level have been provided along with the consolidated financial results disclosed on the stock exchange. The cash flows from SPVs are in the nature of interest income, dividend income, repayment of SPV debt. More than 90% of NDCF of the SPVs has been upstream to PG InvIT by March 31, 2024, in line with InvIT regulations and the trust distribution policy. The NDCF of PG InvIT for the quarter ended March 31, 2024 works out to rupees 2,937.03 million. For financial year 2024, the trust NDCF was rupees 10,977.63 million. We have announced a distribution of rupees 3 per unit, which comprises of interest component of rupees 1.78, taxable dividend component of rupees 0.30, exempt dividend component of rupees 0.15, repayment of SPV debt of rupees 0.75, and treasury income of rupees 0.02. For this fiscal, this takes our aggregate distribution to rupees 12 per unit. With this distribution, we have an aggregate paid or announced an aggregate of rupees 34.5 per unit to our unit holders since our listing in May 21. As on March 31, 2024, PG InvIT had an external borrowing of rupees 5,698 million, which was raised from HDFC Bank to part finance the acquisition. The loan, as informed earlier, is a floating rate loan linked to 3 months Treasury bill. Net debt as a percentage of AUM as on March 31, 2024 works out to about 0.26%, which provides significant headroom for funding future acquisitions entirely through debt. The trust continues to enjoy highest credit ratings, AAA with stable outlook from all the 3 rating agencies, namely ICRA Limited, CRISIL Ratings, and CARE Ratings. The billed trade receivables as of March 31, 2024 stood at rupees 1,371.31 million, that is equivalent to 40 days of billing. Coming to the acquisition of balance 26% equity shareholding in 4 SPVs, the transaction could not be undertaken during financial year 23-24. We shall be approaching the sponsor again during financial year 24-25 for the same. Now coming to the outlook part, while we are keen on evaluating acquisition opportunities from private developers, the availability of operational ISTS transition assets at this stage is minimal, and we expect the same to pick up pace in 12 to 18 months as and when the assets under development get commissioned and complete their mandatory operational history for acquisition by an InvIT. We are currently in discussions with some states regarding the monetization of the transmission line infrastructure, adhering to the guidelines set forth by the Ministry of Power, Government of India. Given the novelty of this process and the sensitivity of the subject, we anticipate that it will take some time before these discussions materialize into tangible outcomes. However, we firmly believe that the monetization of power transmission assets by states holds immense potential. With operational assets readily available and states in need of funds for developing new transmission infrastructure, this initiative can significantly benefit both the parties involved. We remain steadfast in our belief that PG InvIT is well positioned to leverage the Government of India's asset monetization program. With ample headroom for acquiring new assets through debt, coupled with our competitive strength and established reputation as an investment vehicle, PG InvIT stands to gain significantly. A large pool of institutional and non-institutional investors further strengthens our capacity to capitalize on opportunities arising from the asset monetization initiative. Further, we are also looking at sponsors' monetization plan as and when it undertakes monetization through InvIT. We would like to reiterate that all assets proposed for acquisition will be evaluated for their suitability to PG InvIT on the basis of operational history in accordance with InvIT regulations, compliances with InvIT regulations and statutory requirements, PG InvIT's corporate governance framework, and keeping in mind the overall interests of unit holders. Now coming to the distribution guidance, we expect to make the distribution of rupees 12 per unit for the financial year 24-25 again. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for your trust and support in PG InvIT. Thank you. And now I would like to hand over to the moderator for further proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Nidhi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. My first question is, what do you think? What is the distribution guidance for the next year, and what are the new opportunities that you can see in terms of acquiring new assets?
Yeah, as I've already addressed that the opportunity, that the distribution guidance again is we are making is rupees 12 per unit for the financial year 24-25. And as far as the acquisitions of new assets are concerned, the 26% of the 4 SPVs which are still in the hands of the sponsor, this year, financial year 24-25, because the last current year they have already completed their monetization targets, but we are in touch with the sponsor, and hopefully this financial year we still believe that chances are there that we'll be taking up these 26% remaining in the 4 SPVs from our sponsor.
All right. And so you mentioned that we're receiving about 12 rupees a year on distribution. How long can we hold on to that figure?
This 12 per unit, how long we can hold to this figure?
Yes. So do you see any dips in this number, any changes in that?
See, without acquisition of further acquisitions, not more than 2 years, 2 to 3 years. That is what. But it will only the future will tell. Not very sure. But not 3 years without acquisition.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll join back in the queue for further questions.
Yeah.
Just to supplement what the chairman sir was saying, that presently we have given the guidance for the fiscal 24-25. However, you must have gone through the valuation report which has been published on the stock exchanges as well as our website, that the revenue profile of the assets are such that it is going to dip. So as the sir mentioned, that without new acquisitions, this kind of distribution will not be holding up in future. However, for 24-25, we are confident that we will be able to make up for rupees 12 per unit.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Vipul Kumar Shah from Sumangal Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So my question is, without any further acquisition of assets, what type of distribution we can expect 2 years down the line, 2 or 3 years down the line?
Yeah, I think our CFO would supplement, please.
As a policy, we are not giving the guidance beyond 1 year. So probably we can talk about it each year beginning. We are giving the guidance for the fiscal as we did the last year also and this year also. But it is very evident from the the revenue profile that since the revenue will be dipping and expenses will be increasing due to the inflationary pressure, maintaining rupees 12 will be really difficult. So we will not put finger on any figure right now. Maybe when we assemble again for the call beginning, Q4 FY2025, that point in time we can talk again for the fiscal 25-26.
This year's Q4 or call or Q4 of 25-26?
No. We are into 24-25-9 and this is the Q4 call for fiscal 24. In the same manner, in the month of May or June 25, we again will be assembling with the financial results for 24-25. At that point in time, we will be better equipped to give you guidance for 25-26 fiscal.
So the question regarding balance 26% stake of sponsor. So why they are not coming up with any clarity? Because this question is asked over and over again. So things should be made clear whether they want to divest or not.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
So this question has been put many times, and still sponsor is not giving any reply. That is not fair.
No, sponsor is evaluating this on a yearly basis because they have a monetization program. This year in 23-24, their monetization target could be completed without the divestment of this 26%. But we are in touch with them, and they have more or less given an indication that in this year, in the new financial year, they have a target of monetization, and most probably we are having positive signals that this year they may be in a position to divest this 26% also.
So hypothetically, if POWERGRID divests 26%, what type of debt we will have to raise to acquire balance 26% stake in the remaining SPVs?
Please.
So if I understand correctly, the kind of debt that you mentioned, you are meaning the quantum or the mode of raising the debt? The quantum depends upon the valuation and the other stuff, which probably we cannot disclose at this point in time. However, for funding, whatever quantum has been decided upon, we will be taking a mix of floating and fixed. I mean, we might be hitting the market with some NCD issuances, as well as part maybe through bank loan funding.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Praveen from ASNL. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Sir, my first question is there any valuation report for March 24 available, because it is not available on the website?
So it is available on National Stock Exchange.
Okay. So since I didn't had a chance to go over it, I will just ask, you have taken an gain reversal, impairment reversal of 25.41 crores. So this, in the March quarter, in the September quarter, the discounting rate was 8.85%. So right now, how much it is?
8.79.
8.79. And what is the NAV, sir, right now?
It must be 85.28.
85.28. Okay. And based on my understanding, this 26% is not going to get any significant improvement as far as cash flow accrual is concerned, because the net of the interest payment versus cash accrual will be negligible. So real story will, pan out only once we go for additional acquisition of assets. And since POWERGRID has decided cash flow accrual, cash flow monetization, they are not getting into, the InvIT model as of now. It seems they are more into, direct cash flow hedging of monetization of the assets through cash flow, hypothetication. So do you think in near future we will be able to get any assets from POWERGRID into this InvIT? Or if not, then what are our plans to acquire additional assets? Because it's quite some time. There are other InvITs which are there in the publicly floated exchanges, and you would have seen them. They are getting more and more assets, while we are not getting, we are not able to lock in into any significant assets apart from POWERGRID one. POWERGRID has taken a decision. So can you throw some light on that?
Actually, basically, POWERGRID is a government company, and as per the NMC guideline, the ministry has already indicated that we cannot monetize it on the ownership basis. The government assets won't be monetized on an ownership basis. So that is the main reason why POWERGRID may not be going into the sale of the assets. And apart from that, so first of all, since already 74% we have taken of these assets, and balance 26% we will take. But soon we are also in touch with the government of India success of the InvIT which we have already formed. And but there is a visible growth in the transition sector because of the target given by the Government of India of 70 gigawatt of RE capacity by 2030, and transmission line and transformers will be added, and with that, as well as the states, some of the states are also in touch with us for the expansion of their intrastate system, and they have shortage of funds, so they are also evaluating this monetization program which we had with the sponsor. And so I think in the coming year we are hopeful for 26% acquisition from POWERGRID, and maybe after that we are going with the states, sub asset of the states, and but we can share that post issuance of government guidelines on asset monetization to states, and some states have really evinced preliminary interest, and we have sent our teams to them, and it is under discussion.
But this 26% will not yield any much gain. This is what is, my understanding.
Significant gain, definitely.
But this guidelines from the government after this InvIT was floated, that we should not go for, the transfer of assets. Is it applicable only for the power sector, or it is applicable for the highway sector also? Because NHAI InvIT is actually getting more and more assets into InvITs.
No, but I don't think they are also doing out on transfer of assets basis.
In case of NHAI assets, they are not transferring the ownership. Their model is TOT model already. Their revenue sharing mechanism. So our model, PG InvIT model, and their model, there is a difference in asset monetization.
So can't this model be fine-tuned based on whatever the guidelines? Because either government changes the guideline or we need to change our model, correct?
Yes, you are correct. But in case of state, they are free to take decision of their own. Either they sell through ownership or sharing the revenue sharing model. So they are free to take the decision as of.
Okay, I'm sure that. Yeah, sorry, continue, sir.
Not at all an issue. Just to supplement what Abhayji and Purushottamji was pointing towards too, is that NHAI is an authority, and their fund goes to the Consolidated Fund of India, and they are exempted by the income tax and GST for many of the issues. While POWERGRID is a company governed by the Companies Act and does not enjoy any such exemptions. Now, you see that the electricity is a zero-rated supply. So it is not taxable under the GST. As soon as you try to adopt the NHAI model, wherein you transfer the rights instead of the assets, it uses the color of transmission charges, which is exempt and takes the shape of, say, lease receivables. And that is taxable at the rate of 18%. So the whole game goes haywire. I mean, why will anyone take a hit of 18% and then, obviously we as a buyer will not give the value for that 18% which is going outside. And why the seller will take a hit? So that kind of model has many challenges which require solution before it can be put on the ground for implementation.
And sir, so basically, NHAI model, I understand, the model is different. I can understand that. But then since government has come with these, guidelines, after the flotation of InvIT, it seems then, we will have to go with some other model which private, like India Grid and all are doing, acquiring solar assets and things like that. One has to think in those lines because we as an investor come from, a background wherein we want a sustained income. It's a quasi-hybrid equity model wherein we want certain, and we are afraid that after 2-3 years, unless and until there is a growth in the assets, the payout will significantly reduce. Because NAV is 86 rupees. We are paying, much more than that. So, it will come down significantly.
You are 100% right, sir. There is no denying the fact that this will be the situation if no further acquisitions are made. However, having said that, kindly also acknowledge the fact that entering into a new sector. You mentioned solar. So we are not a solar expert. So entering into a new sector brings its own set of risks. So let us wait for some time. We are hopeful that something material happens as far as the transmission in the state sector goes. So with folded hands, we can only request to keep faith in PG InvIT and let us be together for some more time to see how the things are unfolding in the say a year or two to come.
No, definitely, sir. It's we have full trust on you and full faith on the management, and we believe that something will happen. It is only you can understand the anxiety of the investors.
Definitely.
Right now you are getting 12 rupees a year, and subsequently, after 2 years, it significantly falls, and your weighted average comes significantly down. So it becomes a bit of a disaster. So I'm sure that you guys would be seized of situation and would be taking necessary corrective action, and the sooner the better. So, we eagerly hope, and this 26% is okay. It happens or doesn't happen, doesn't matter much. But the additional asset under acquiring additional asset is a significant thing which we look forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Arun Karvanda from ABDS Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we get this 26% done with POWERGRID, what is the likely increment to the NDCF that will happen?
CFO, please.
Sir, there will not be any significant bump up. As you can see from our distribution that, this quarter we declared 3 rupees per unit distribution, and out of that 3, the taxable dividend component was 30 paisa, so almost 10%. Now you realize the fact that that this dividend, this 30 paisa dividend, which is currently flowing to PG InvIT, is for 74% holding in the 4 SPVs. What will happen that the balance 26% will also start accruing to PG InvIT in the form of dividend if we take the balance 26% stake. However, having said that, we have to take either the additional loan to fund this acquisition, and that loan will have to be serviced. There will be interest costs attached to it, and there will be capital repayments, loan repayments to be done to the financer. So all in all, financially there will not be any gains. I mean, it is only from the control perspective that you will be the 100% owner of those 4 SPVs. But in financial term, I mean, there won't be any significant gains, sir.
Okay. So logically, would it not make sense to practically abandon this particular plan and try and get a new asset where at least you can get some advantage from a generation of income perspective?
So, sir, actually we are bound by the share purchase agreement which was entered way back in 2021. So as per which we are bound to, acquire those balance 26% stake. And it is always good to have, 100% pie with you than share it with anyone. So even if there is no significant uptake, it will make logic for us to acquire balance 26%. However, having said that, you are very correct that the uptick in a significant manner can happen only when the fresh assets are acquired, not before that.
Further, I would supplement to this that if we acquire 100%, there are in these 4 SPVs some future additions in the form of RTM projects may be coming in the near future. So in that, like what happened in PKTL and Kalam, PPTL, yeah. So and there will be some tariffs in revenues coming from that. So I think we are trying both. First, this 26%, and then the addition of new assets.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Vipul Kumar Shah from Sumangal Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is regarding contingency plans for increasing the net distribution and acquiring new assets. Unfortunately, these questions are asked by many participants in every call, and management doesn't seem to have any plan. So what is my request is, when next quarter results are announced and conference call is held, there should be some concrete plan put before investors that how we want to acquire new assets, or are we going to some new areas of business. Some clarity will be really very helpful. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello. You want to reply on this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. In the next quarter, see, we have already intimated that first we'll be going with POWERGRID for acquisition of balance 26%, and then we are in talk with the states. Acquisition from the state transition is not going to be a very short, not going to take place in a very short time, but definitely it will. We are hoping that in a few states, in 2 states, we are already in talk. They will have to take a cabinet approval, but I hope that by the end of this this financial year, we will have some plans for future.
No, my request is at least you put some concrete plan when the next quarter's conference call is held, because the investors are very nervous. You must appreciate that the unit price had reached 140 at one point, and now it is hovering around 95, 90, between 95 and 100, and it will likely drop further if there is no further acquisition of assets. It is very clear.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, and I hope you will take our suggestion seriously.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pradeep Sridhar from an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congrats on the results. So I have just one question. So regarding, thanks for explaining the 26% and then also how we are looking into the state sponsor thing. But it will also be, my suggestion is that it will also be good if we can show a growth path on, like, hey, how we are going to build more assets and then increase the quality, or something like a plan, because today it looks more like very stagnating instead of actually growing, right? It feels like putting money in an FD that has high risk of going down than going up. So as an investor, it just gives so much of anxiety into, hey, what is the plan? Because we are, personally, I am very much believing in peak InvIT and not looking at other InvITs, but many other InvITs are diversifying and then looking into many other streams to go ahead and acquire new assets in solar energy and solar power, right? But so some kind of growth strategy will be helpful to understand from an investor perspective what is going to be the medium to long-term outlook of how we are going to grow.
Yeah, we will be, instead of foraying into new areas such as generation, we are concentrating on the intrastate transmission sector, and we are in talk with the states. So as already we have told you and the other investors that first we'll be taking up this 26% from POWERGRID, and then we'll go for the intrastate transmission sector from the states before entering a new sector such as generation, because we do not have much experience on these sectors, so we find those sectors a bit risky. So but still we have to come up with some plans which we have already told you in this financial year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Definitely, that's just an idea that we got from other InvITs, but whatever you can show us the growth plan that you are going to focus on, that will be very helpful for us to understand what is our strategy and then how we are going to grow this thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. This is regarding the 26% stake which you talked about. You mentioned that there is a share purchase agreement which you have signed, and you are bound to acquire those stakes. Now the question is, sir, that since I am assuming that the acquisition should broadly happen at around 11 to 13% IRR, and the interest rates are around 8.5%. So I am failing to understand why will it not accrue any value to us. I mean, at least in the NAV terms, it should be significantly NAV accretive.
Sir, those are your assumptions. You also mentioned that you are assuming certain things. So whether the assumptions hold good at the final deal time or not is what even you do not know, even we do not know. So, I mean, your assumptions might be too ambitious. Maybe the market does not work that way. So better to talk at the time, when we are closer to the deal. But yes, we will not be able to divulge more than this. I mean, assumptions are assumptions after all.
All right. Sir, if you can also highlight as to whenever you are looking at other assets apart from POWERGRID, either the private assets or the state assets, what is the kind of threshold IRR which you are looking at, below which you will not acquire any assets?
Ultimately, the objective of acquiring any asset is to, give some bump up to the returns of the unit holder or elongate the life of the consistent return over the, some years. So, threshold, it's a strategic, it's a part of the strategy. Probably this is not the right forum to talk about it. However, the baseline remains that it needs to result into some kind of value accretion for our unit holders. So obviously it has to be somewhere above my cost of debt plus some risk premium. So yeah.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much, ICICI Security team, Mr. Mohit and his team. And thanks again to all the participants for attending this call. Participating actively in PG Invest earning calls serves as a valuable source of motivation for us, and we look forward to engaging with our investor community during our analyst calls. We have outlined PG Invest's trajectory towards a streamlined business model, emphasizing operational efficiency to improve returns, value-added growth through strategic acquisitions, and a robust capital structure, all aimed at delivering consistent, stable, and visible returns to our unit holders. Once more, I extend our appreciation for your trust and support, and we eagerly anticipate your ongoing confidence in PG Invest. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.